He was 26 years old. On a cold November morning in 1944, Stephan Kortas stood in the garden of a farmhouse near Toul, France, facing a U.S. military firing squad. He wasn't captured in uniform. He wasn't carrying a weapon. He was wearing civilian clothes, and that made all the difference. Kortas had been a German soldier, conscripted into the Wehrmacht during the later stages of World War II. But in September 1944, he took on a far more dangerous role, that of a spy. Alongside 18-year-old Josef Wende, he was ordered to cross enemy lines in plain clothes, infiltrate Allied-held territory, and gather intelligence on troop movements. The two men disguised themselves as laborers and crossed the Moselle River. Their orders were clear: observe, report, and avoid detection at all costs. But within days, they were caught by American forces. They were questioned, searched, and their mission was quickly uncovered. Because they wore civilian clothing, they weren't classified as prisoners of war under the Geneva Conventions. They were treated as spies, men who operated outside the laws of war. The penalty for espionage in wartime was death, and both Kortas and Wende were swiftly brought before a U.S. military commission. Their trial was brief. There were no defense attorneys, no appeals, and no media coverage. The verdict: guilty. The sentence: death by firing squad. The date was set: November 11th, 1944. For Kortas, the war would end not on a battlefield, but in the quiet backyard of a farmhouse. Stephan Kortas stood in the garden of a farmhouse near Toul, France, his hands tied tightly behind his back. He didn't wear a uniform. There was no military insignia, no last-minute pardon, just a simple coat, worn shoes, and the knowledge that these were his final minutes on earth. He wasn't crying. He wasn't praying. He simply stared forward, calm, resigned, unblinking. A clergyman offered him a final blessing, but Kortas remained silent. No last request. No farewell message. Some say he wanted to face what was coming. Others say he had already given up days ago. To the Allied command, their actions were clear violations, spying under false identities, threatening the safety of advancing forces. To others, they were pawns, young men sent into impossible missions by a regime that was already collapsing. Today, few remember the name Stephan Kortas. He left behind no famous legacy, no books, no records, just a quiet grave and a moment in history captured in grainy black and white footage. A man who crossed the line of war and paid the price for it. And now we ask you, was Stephan Kortas truly a dangerous spy, or just another victim of a brutal system and an unforgiving war? Was his execution justice, or something else? Tell us what you think in the comments.